Graham, Jason Matthews here with Bleacher Report. Very busy weekend ahead. New A&E Legends biography episode and Eddie Guerrero coming up on Sunday at 8 p.m. Before that, we got King and Queen of the Ring in Saudi Arabia this Saturday on Peacock, WWE's latest PLE. Today, we're talking to Rey Mysterio, though, to talk about both events, the Eddie Guerrero doc coming up this weekend and the pay-per-view itself. Ray, always a pleasure talking to you. Thanks for taking the time, man. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Like just talking about this documentary coming up this weekend. Obviously, we've spoke at nauseum about Eddie over the years and his legacy and what he leaves behind, everything he's accomplished. This doc is obviously going to kind of give us a new look at the Eddie Guerrero legacy in WWE and just wrestling in general in the last number of years. Speaking about it now in this doc in 2024, how do you think Eddie's legacy has grown in the last 20 years since his passing in 2005?
Well, I mean, I've been a witness that his spirit maintains alive, uh, ever since he left us in 2005. To be able to just hear the Eddie chants, to capture here and there videos or clips that he has done over the years in his career. And he had a really short time in WWE. Like I can't even imagine Eddie still being here and the growth that he would have had over the past 20 years. Incredible, but overall, I love that his spirit is still alive and will maintain alive forever.
How do you think he would have fit into today's WWE? Talk about that. I mean, I don't know if he would still be wrestling full time, obviously, but maybe like the occasional part time thing, or maybe just being a coach of the PC. But I just feel like with today's wrestling style compared to 20, 20, 25, 30 years ago, obviously you're still going strong. So you're a testament to that. But just talk about where you think he would have fit in today's landscape of wrestling.
To me, from the moment I saw Eddie for the first time, as a fan, was roughly early 90s in Tijuana and wrestling by my uncle's side, and have seen his growth since the early 90s up until 2005 when he left us. Eddie to me was like a chameleon. He can adapt to every single way that he needed to adapt. He just had that perfection within him to make it work as a good guy, as a bad guy, to play the role of Dominic's biological father, all of these scenarios that were put in front of him and that he knew how to work. I think now Eddie would definitely adapted to this style. And not only that, just the knowledge that he would have been able to pass on to the superstars of today. That's what I would have really have loved.
I mean, you talk about some of your best matches too. I mean, people obviously remember like the Halloween Havoc match that you guys had. I think a lot of people regard that as being your best. People like, so I'm 28, so I kind of grew up in the mid 2000s range of like the Eddie feud that you guys had in like the mid 2000s in WWE. I think that's what people remember the most. I know you were asked about it at the Mania junket as far as if you knew back then what Dominic was capable of now, would you have wanted to give up custody of Dominic in that match at SummerSlam in '05? I mean, do you still get asked about that match to this day as far as like people still think that it's real to this day that Eddie was Dominic's biological father? It's been 20 years, right? And that
Yeah.
match has really stood the test of time. It's crazy.
I think now, more than anything, it's because a lot of the fans now understand how wrestling works and the storylines that are behind it. But a couple of years back, I would get asked that a lot. Um, to be able to see Dominic's growth in the past couple 3 years
Yeah.
has been awesome. Every now and then, my mind will just wander off and start thinking, what would if Eddie would still be here now, how would this all been interacted and intertwined in order to give the fans something different? Playing off of the custody up until now, his turn, him being by Eddie's side, like, and my mind just drifts off, man, crazy. Which I would have really enjoyed. But overall, talking about the match that I feel put me on the line was Halloween Havoc '97. What year are you from?
I started watching in like
But
2008. So that
wait,
was
you
before
were
my time,
born.
but obviously I've gone back and watched it. It's an amazing match.
Yeah, but you were born in 90,
Oh, 95, 95.
95. Okay,
Yeah.
Dom is from 97.
Wow.
So
Okay.
so just I remember that was Dom was born in April, and in October I had the Halloween Havoc match.
Yeah.
And if you look close enough, I've talked about this before, in the back of that Phantom outfit, it's spray painted, but it says Dominic on the side,
Hmm.
paying a little tribute to my son. But overall, I have always believed that that match was the match that put me on the map worldwide. A lot of people knew who Rey Mysterio was, but after that match, that really stood out in my career. And for that, I have to thank Eddie.
All these years later, how much of Eddie do you see in your son Dominic as far as the on-screen character? He's his own individual, obviously, but aside from the haircut, which is very Eddie esque from the early 2000s, how much of heel Eddie do you see in Dominic today?
Yeah, I see a lot of like bits and pieces here and there, even just sudden movements that he does or pictures that I see. And then I compare him to a picture that I have of Eddie, and I'm like, wow. I mean, I was talking about this earlier, but um, I tell my wife, I said, did you really cheat with me with Eddie? Because oh my God, I like look at your son here and look at him, look at Eddie here.
Yeah, yeah.
She always gives me, she goes, yeah, I did, and I didn't tell you. So, no, but I really enjoy like seeing that because Eddie he represents so much, not only to me, but to my entire family, to Dominic. I know Dominic, I would catch him watching Eddie videos constantly when he was breaking in and trying to learn, the frog splash when he did it for the first time at Survivor Series when I faced Brock.
Hmm.
And that was the first time he did a frog splash. And I remember when he was asked, hey, can you do the frog splash? Yeah, yeah, I can. Then afterwards, I asked him, I said, you've done it before? He goes, no. But I'll do it. So things like that, and to see his growth now and how he does it nowadays, I truly enjoy it. And I have a lot to thank Eddie for.
That's awesome. Did you and Angie recently celebrate an anniversary, or have you guys just? Yeah, that's what I thought. I thought I
Yes,
had
we
seen that
did.
online.
Yeah,
Congratulations on that. That's
thank you.
fantastic.
May 11th, we 28 years married and 32 years together. I'm sorry, 34 years together.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
awesome.
Thank you.
Congratulations. That's
Thank you
fantastic.
very much.
Absolutely. I mean, just going back to Dominic, I mean, the similarities and not just him as a character, but like some of the feuds, obviously, like the ongoing on and off feud that you guys have had in the last 2 years with Dominic and the story that you guys have had going, the Eddie Guerrero, kind of the same thing back in 2005 with the way that he betrayed you and it turned into this great storyline. Dominic, same thing. Someone posted recently the similarities between that, but Carlito, Santos, Batista, Ray, what is it with all these people betraying you? I know you're just so goddamn likable, but why do these people keep betraying you, Ray? Does it become a problem is it like an internal issue? What's going on there?
I'm too friendly with people, and
Okay.
because I don't know how to get mad,
Yep.
and I can't be the bad guy, even at home. And my wife sometimes tells me that, like, you have to show a little bit more attitude. Because I'm just so chill. I'm so relaxed. I can't change that character that I've been for so many years, my whole
Yeah.
life. So I always end up trusting the wrong people. That's my problem. I mean, maybe one day I'll just snap
Yeah.
and go crazy.
At this point, you can't even trust your own son. It's crazy. I mean, even
Yeah,
before the betrayal happened, I don't know if you've ever seen the post before, but there was like a tweet from like 2012. It was promoting like WWE 12 or something like that. You're like,
mhm,
oh, I'm going to go beat my son in the game. And obviously, you meant like playing the game. People
right.
thought you meant like abuse or something like that. So people kind of take it back to that. Have you seen that post before or no?
No, I haven't. I got to check that out. I haven't. I'm sure somebody would have shown it to me, and I can't believe nobody has.
Yeah,
I
I
really
guess
go
not. That's
back and check
crazy.
that.
It was on Twitter. It went viral a while ago, but maybe the
Uh,
next junket, if you were there, I'll definitely have to show you in person. But
please, would
it's
love
pretty
to.
funny. That would be fantastic. But it's crazy to see how much has progressed in your career with him, and you've helped him so much over the last number of years. I know when we talked a number of years ago, you mentioned that was like your number one goal, kind of getting him to that next level. I would have never imagined it would have been as a bad guy. He has certainly excelled at that role as one of the most hated people in the entire company, which is great to see. with that being done, like what more would you like to do? Elevating him and just your own career in general, now that you're in the Hall of Fame too.
I just want to make this point clear that I mean, I help my son to a certain degree,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
obviously because he's my son and the
Mhm.
introduction into the business, and obviously the comparisons were made, but I think the only thing I probably helped him with is his first match, which I
Mhm.
was right there by his corner, and becoming the first father and son tag team champions. After that, everything he's probably done on his own and gotten advice from other people that has not been his father. And to me, as a father, that makes me feel a large amount of pride because uh, he's cutting his own path now.
Mhm.
He's not in my footsteps. He's doing his own thing. I've never been a heel in my whole career. That probably the only time that was kind of heelish was Filthy Animals.
Mhm.
Overall, he's done his own thing. I can't give him any advice on how to become a heel. So he's learned that on his own and he's figured it out on his own, which makes me feel very proud.
What does your daughter think of heel Dominic? I mean, she grew up with him. They had that sibling rivalry. Is she like, I saw this in him the whole time, or is she just as surprised as anyone else?
She still says he's still a douchebag, and he's always been that way. So every now and then she goes, Dom takes his role too seriously. He thinks
Yeah.
the same character he's on TV, he has to be at home. I'm just gonna slap him. You do what you gotta do. So yeah, he Dom has always been that way around the house.
Yeah.
You know, very spontaneous with his remarks, very gritty. But overall, I think he gets a lot of that from my wife because my wife is like that as well.
I know you mentioned when we spoke last month, she's the Dodgers fan, right? And you're the Padres fan, is that correct?
My daughter's a Dodger fan.
She's a Dodgers fan. Are you the Padres
Yes,
fan or no?
I'm a Padres fan.
Okay,
Yes,
so the other way around. Gotcha.
yes,
Uh,
yeah,
they're 1-2 right now, right, in the league?
yes, yes. We're right behind. That man, the connection I've had with the Padres over the years has been incredible. To be
Yeah.
able to be at the games and take it way back to being able, because as a kid, my dad used to bring me to the Padres games. And I remember one time specifically that I was able to bring him because I was throwing the first pitch and we ran into Tony Gwynn, rest in peace, and was able to get a picture with my dad, Tony Gwynn, and myself. And that to me is legendary, man. Tony Gwynn is Padres 1000. Yeah,
That's awesome. And they're doing so well right now, so it's
they
cool to
are.
see. Hopefully it
Right.
continues throughout the rest of the season. I know you also mentioned when we spoke last month in the Mania thing that Brandon Moreno, when I asked you like who from the wrestling world would do well in WWE, UFC fighter Brandon Moreno, I thought you had mentioned would excel really, really well. Obviously coming up soon, Jake Paul and Mike Tyson fight coming up. Any stake in that? Obviously Logan Paul's in WWE right now. He beat you for the United States Championship, so some bad
Yeah.
blood there. Your thoughts in the fight and who you might see it going over, so to speak?
I don't know, man. The Pauls have a lot of hungry desire to succeed
Mhm.
and are very good athletes overall. Look at Logan's growth in wrestling, man. I don't think I've ever seen anyone pick up so fast as Logan has. We've had a lot of celebrities and athletes from from their sports coming into our world, and they might come in one, two shots and do okay.
Mhm.
But like to see Logan succeed as good as he has is amazing. And to see Jake as well, you also have to put the fact that they're throwing all their effort and time onto becoming great. And I know Jake is very serious about what he's doing. Do I have a winner for that fight? That's a hard one. That's really hard.
Mhm.
Tyson will always be Tyson.
He's WWE Hall of Famer. It's hard to bet against Tyson.
Yeah, yeah,
He's
for
obviously a
real.
legend in his own right. But mentioning Brandon Moreno, got that Tijuana connection, obviously. WWE traveling all over the world for these PLEs. As we wrap up here, we got the Saudi Arabia show, obviously, like I mentioned, King and Queen of the Ring this weekend. You guys were just in France a couple weeks back, Berlin in a couple months. It just doesn't end, and these atmospheres are amazing. When do you think? And I mean, the answer is obviously yes. You want to see it. A WWE PLE in Mexico, whether it be Tijuana or wherever in Mexico. I feel like it's got to be inevitable. I mean, there's such a rich wrestling history there. It hasn't happened yet, but it's got to be inevitable, though. You think?
I'm hoping that it happens within the next 3 years.
Mm,
I think my people deserve something as good as a PLE. So I'm truly hoping. I mean, we have a huge stadium over there, Estadio Azteca, which I believe is being remodeled and should be done sometime next year. Uh, I think the fans would go crazy, crazy, and enjoy it. Mexico has always been, an incredible crowd for wrestling. And what better than to pay it off with WWE coming over there and giving them something special as a PLE.
I look forward to it, Ray. Thanks so much for the time, man. Eddie Guerrero doc coming up this weekend, pay-per-view on Saturday as well. Ray, always a great time chatting with you, and I'll be sure to show you that tweet the next time I see you in person.
Thank you very much, man. Viva la raza.